I didn't know it before, but when they came to me in the middle of the night while I slept, or during the day when I felt restless, they would soon become the building blocks to a successful future for myself. I never disregarded their names as they entered my head, and I never ignored the significance of the potential they could have one day. At the time, I didn't know what worlds they could exist in, but as I worked hard to conquer that very conundrum, I began to understand what they truly meant to me, because without them, I couldn't create what I love. After all, what are books without characters? All the fairies and the dragons and the trolls were all there to help me fill the pages as I worked my way towards achieving greatness. All of this made possible because I was born with autism. I've always had a mind easily disturbed by the things around me, such as people making too much noise in my ears or cars bustling about across the streets. But I've also been able to appreciate the simpler things in life, such as tree leaves changing colors outside and the different cloud formations that take place up in the sky. I think those are just some of the smaller inspirations I had for creating future books. And for a while, I didn't think anything could disrupt my creative way of thinking, but that all started to change when I entered middle school. Because I'm socially awkward around people, and because I learn slower than most, and because I stutter sometimes, I think those are just some of the reasons why the other kids thought it was okay to poke fun at me and make bad jokes at my expense. And I didn't think it could feel any more hurtful than it already was. But when I entered high school, it did in fact get worse. Because I remember how whenever I wanted to join a soccer game out on the field, or shoot hoops in the gymnasium, or go in the cafeteria, sit down and have a conversation with my fellow classmates, I was turned away, ignored, and rejected almost every single time. And that always hurt a lot, but I don't think anything hurt more than what Miles did to me. I remember it well. I was sitting in drama class, keeping to myself, minding my own business, when in front of everyone and for no reason at all, he taunted me for being overweight and for wearing a pair of glasses on my face. Whatever friendship he and I might have had before was gone on that day. It had been destroyed in a matter of seconds. And this was a guy I thought to be one of my best friends in the world. I spent time in his house, and we had sleepovers. But after that, I had a difficult time developing trust for future relationships. And understandably so, all I wanted to do after that was quit high school and take my chances out in the world. But quitting has never been in my nature. Even so, I was more than excited when my senior year of high school rolled around, because it meant I was this close to being free out in the world. But I was told before I could graduate and receive my high school diploma, I would have to complete a senior project. And it didn't take a whole lot of brain power for me to know exactly what I was going to do. Because I've always had a good talent for writing books, I figured, well, why couldn't that work for this too? So I got to work. I started drawing out illustrations and pulling together the right words for a compelling story. And after several months of hard work, I realized I had created something truly special. It was a book called Albert the Elephant. Albert the Elephant was born with a very, very long trunk. And at first, Albert could not understand why he'd been born so differently from all the other elephants. He was embarrassed and ashamed because he kept tripping over his long trunk. So in an effort to free himself, he decided to run away to find a better situation. I wanted to make those starting phrases and the pictures filled with colors clear so that the people around me could understand through their own eyes what it was like for me to go through such events in high school. I've always had this dream, this fantasy, that I would one day walk onto a movie set that was built and constructed from ideas pulled from my books so that I could see that be made into reality. I knew to be able to experience that would be the true pinnacle of what I was capable of achieving as a person and is an author. It was for that reason I started developing the Tyler McNair trilogy because I thought that would be my best chance at one day hitting the big screen. I've always had a love for movies, and because they always meant something so special to me. And when it comes to movies, I think of an old quote that I heard a long time ago on a classic. And it goes as such: I don't know what I would do if I couldn't do what I love. Pleasantville, 1998. And to me, no truer words have ever been spoken, because if someone came to me and said you can no longer write books, I don't know what I would do. And when I think back to books, it brings me back to Albert the elephant. One day, Albert the elephant was strolling through the big city when he encountered a burning building with innocent people trapped inside. Instinctively, Albert smashed a fire hydrant with his big foot. Water gushing out, he sucked up as much water as he possibly could into his very, very long trunk. With all his effort and all his might, he forced all the water out of his trunk and onto the fire. When everyone inside had been rescued, the townspeople cheered for him. Albert had become their hero. I've been invited to read that very story to many classes of kids at local elementary schools. I hope to teach them that bullying is never something that should ever be taken lightly, because bullying helps no one. And even as I continue working on books and moving forward, I still think, there's nothing that's going to happen out there that's still going to surprise me. But in fact, sometimes I still do get surprised. For instance, 13 years after I had graduated from my high school, I received an unexpected phone call from my advisory classroom's teacher, Mrs. Parker. She had invited me back to my old high school for a ceremony in which I would receive a golden plaque with my name engraved across it to be held in a trophy case so that I could be remembered as one of the hardest working students she would ever have. And as I reflect on all that I've been able to achieve thus far, I realize something is very certain in my life. As long as I stay dedicated to my work, stay true to myself, and continue to pave the path forward, I know that if I stay on that road, my road is going to lead towards nothing else but limitless possibilities in the direction of opportunity and success. My name is Trey Martin. Thanks for listening.